All right, let's jump right into Word Smart List 31. We're going to tackle 25 key vocabulary words. Now, to make this super easy to remember, we've organized them into 5 simple groups based on what they mean. Ready? Let's dive into our first theme.
Okay, so our first group of words, it's all about power. Who has it, who doesn't, and what it means to be in charge or to be controlled by someone else. So to subjugate, this is a really strong word. It means to defeat someone and then take complete, total control over them. Imagine a powerful king who conquers a new land. He would then subjugate the people, forcing them to follow all his rules. For example, you could say the invading army tried to subjugate the local population. It really means total domination.
Now, the word succumb is interesting because it has 2 main meanings. First, it means you stop fighting something powerful. You just give in. For example, after weeks of pressure, the manager finally succumbed to the team's demands. He gave up the fight. The second meaning is a bit more serious. It can mean to die from a disease or an injury. Like in the sentence, sadly, the patient succumbed to the illness. So in both cases, it's about giving in to a powerful force you can't beat. Next up is subordinate. This word describes something or someone that's lower in rank or importance. Think about a typical company. Employees are subordinate to their manager. So you could say, the captain gave orders to his subordinate officers. But the word can also be about priorities. For instance, in an emergency, personal comfort is subordinate to safety. That just means safety is much, much more important. Okay, something that's subversive is trying to weaken or destroy some kind of authority, usually in a secret or sneaky way. A group might have a subversive plan to bring down the government. Or a book could be called subversive if its ideas challenge the country's leaders. For example, the government censored the film, claiming it contained subversive messages. It's all about trying to undermine power from the inside. A sycophant. Oh, you've probably met one of these. It's a person who gives compliments to powerful people, but the praise isn't sincere at all. They're just doing it to get something for themselves. We often call this sucking up. For instance, the CEO was surrounded by sycophants who agreed with everything he said, hoping for a promotion. A sycophant's praise isn't genuine, it's a tool. All right, our next group of words shifts away from power and more towards personal behavior. These words describe different kinds of attitudes and actions you might see in people every day. A supercilious person acts like they're superior to everyone around them. Just imagine someone who literally looks down their nose at you. That's a supercilious attitude. For example, the supercilious waiter smirked when I couldn't pronounce the name of the French wine. It's that mix of arrogance and looking down on other people. Surreptitious just means sneaky and secret. It describes doing something that you don't want anyone else to see. Think about a student passing a note during a test. They're doing it in a surreptitious way. Here's another example. She took a surreptitious glance at her watch during the boring meeting. It's all about being secretive so you don't get caught. A taciturn person isn't just quiet in one particular moment. It's part of their personality to be untalkative. It's a little different from being shy. A shy person might want to talk, but is afraid to. A taciturn person, on the other hand, just doesn't like to talk much. For example, my uncle is a taciturn man who rarely speaks, but when he does, everyone listens. Temerity is a special kind of boldness. It's often a bit foolish or even reckless. It's when someone does something so bold it's almost shocking. For instance, he had the temerity to ask his boss for a raise after only working there for 1 week. It's really about crossing a line with your confidence. Temperate is a great word because it can describe both weather and people. A temperate climate is mild. It's not too hot and not too cold. And in the same way, a temperate person is calm and avoids extremes in their behavior. For example, she was known for her temperate personality, never getting too angry or too excited. It just means balanced and moderate. Okay, for our third theme, we're going to look at the difference between what's real and meaningful versus what's just on the surface and maybe not that important. Let's call it substance versus surface. This slide does a great job of showing 2 opposite ideas. Substantive describes something that is deep, real, and important. You might have a substantive conversation about a serious topic. And its opposite is superficial, which describes something that's only on the surface and has no depth. A superficial analysis only looks at the easy details and misses what's really important. Here are 3 more words that have to do with reality and depth. First, tangible. This means something is real and you can actually touch it. A fingerprint is tangible evidence. Second, we have sublime, which describes a beauty so powerful and great that it just fills you with awe, like the sublime view from a mountaintop. And finally, subtle. Something that's subtle is real, but it's not obvious. The difference between two very similar shades of blue can be really subtle.
Our fourth group of words is all about amounts and being effective. Are you saying way too much, or are you being clear and getting right to the point? Let's check it out. So here, we're contrasting two ways of communicating. To be succinct means you are brief, clear, and direct. If your boss asks you for a succinct summary, they want you to get to the point fast. Superfluous is the exact opposite. It means extra and totally unnecessary. To make an essay stronger, you should try to remove all the superfluous words.
A surfeit is an excessive amount of something, so much that it's just overwhelming. You could have a surfeit of food at a huge party where there's way more than anyone could possibly eat. You could also have a surfeit of information, which can make you feel confused. For example, after the holidays, I had a surfeit of chocolate.
Our next word is tautological. This just means repeating the same idea using different words. Take a look at the example on the slide. Free gift. Well, a gift is always free, right? So adding the word free is tautological. It's repetitive and unnecessary. Another example is saying the final outcome, since an outcome is, by definition, the final result.
Imagine a circle. Now picture a straight line that just barely touches the circle at one point and then keeps going off in its own direction. That line is tangential. A tangential comment in a conversation is very similar. It's slightly related to the topic, but it quickly takes the discussion away from the main point. You could say, his questions were interesting, but they were tangential to our main discussion. And for our final group, we're looking at words that describe how different things and ideas connect, relate, and fit together. Let's wrap this up. Synthesis is all about combining different parts or ideas to create something brand new. Think about writing a research paper. You read information from lots of different books and articles. Your final paper, which combines all that information to present a new argument, is a synthesis. You've created a new whole from all those different parts. This slide has our last four words. First up, tantamount. It means equal to or basically the same as. For example, his silence was tantamount to an admission of guilt. Second, tenable. A tenable idea or argument is strong and can be defended against criticism. A good scientific theory has to be tenable. Third, tacit, which means something is understood without anyone needing to say it out loud. A simple nod can be a form of tacit agreement. And finally, a surrogate is just a substitute. The vice president often acts as a surrogate for the president when she is traveling. So, how are you feeling? Is your understanding of these words now tenable? Strong and easy to defend? Or do you maybe feel like you have a surfeit, a bit of an overload of new information? I really hope you found this helpful. Keep practicing, and I promise these words will become a natural part of your vocabulary.